guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the RX7 build. This is going to be an action-packed episode. We've got all of our suspension and engine parts in. So in this episode, we're going to go ahead and start mocking up the motor. But before we do that, let's go ahead and clean it up, get all the grease and oil off the thing, and then we'll be ready to start lining it up. Stay tuned and let's get started with today's episode. Alright, so we got the LS all nice and clean, and since we don't really have an engine stand, we went ahead and used some 4x4 blocks under there, but the chain is off the engine hoist. So now we're going to go ahead and start taking our headers off and changing out our spark plugs. Then this sucker will be ready to go back in. Let's get that done. Alright, so we got 8 new plugs in, and the old ones weren't actually looking too bad except for this one right here. Let me know what causes this down in the comments, but better to replace them while we got the headers off. We got all those gapped to 0.040, so now we're ready to install our headers. What's up guys, next day here and we're back in the garage. Last night we worked late into the night and I was pretty tired, so I caught a few hours of rest. We're all fresh and ready to get back to work. We are playing the waiting game with the FedEx guy. One of our packages was supposed to be delivered yesterday, but I think the dogs in the yard delayed it. or it might need a signature. But anyways, it says it's out for delivery and I'm home all day. I do want to make sure I get that package. But for now, we're going to go ahead and unbox our suspension. And then for the left side, we are going to be using that suspension on there. We just have to swap it over. So let's get to work. So before I unbox all of this right here, let's go ahead and pull this left suspension off real quick. We're going to leave it all in one assembly. We just have two 14 mil bolts right here on the upper control arm. And then you have 3 on the shock absorber. And then there's 1 in the center. That's a 19 mil. All of this is going to drop. We're going to clean it up real quick and have it ready to go. Alright guys, got our suspension off, got it all cleaned up. I went ahead and used some aluminum brightener on this control arm right here. We got all the grime off. I did touch this up right here with some yellow. Doesn't really match, but better than looking at the chips and scratches that has. We can always replace that later on down the road, as well as the rotor and paint the caliper. But we could do all that on the car. Power plant is looking nice and healthy right there. Our final package just came in. So let's go ahead and start installing this suspension, and then we'll probably move on to the headers. All right, so we got the left front suspension installed. I'm just using the overreach there to hold the knuckle and shock together so it's not dangling all over the place before we can install our lower control arm. We got all the bolts up here nice and tight. This right here must have been where I got in some brake fluid because the paint came off real easy, but not a big deal. We're still gonna have to final sand the whole car before we could paint it. So now let's go ahead and get to our new parts. I'm pretty sure this is our shock, upper control arm, lower control arm, and our headers. But let's unbox all this and see what we're working with. Very nice packaging. Woo! I thought this was a brand new one.
No, I did find it used. Couldn't find a new one.
All right, so here's the parts we got. We went with the stainless headers. We got the lower and upper right control arm and also our shock. As you can see, both of these are used, so we're gonna have to clean them up with the aluminum brightener and make these look brand new. I've already got the exhaust port nice and clean, got that scuffed down so that our gasket has a nice even surface to lay on. So let's go ahead and install the headers, and then we'll be ready to move on that right suspension. Alright guys, so we got our headers on. I do have to take them off real quick. I was looking up the GM spec on those bolts, and they do recommend to use the blue Loctite. I just went ahead and used anti-seize because I do think they're going to come off later on. Let me know on what you guys use on your exhaust headers. And then we're thinking about wrapping them. So we got this titanium here and then the black. What do you guys think we should do?
I'm digging the black, man. I think it would look really good in engine bay.
All right, you guys, no luck on the exhaust wrap. I knew it'd be a little tricky, but this is just some small headers and we couldn't get them tight enough. So we're gonna leave this up to the professionals later on. We got all the bolts torqued down to 22 pounds. Start with your inner bolts and work your way out. And some of you hot rod guys out there, let me know on if you use Loctite or anti-seize on the header bolts to prevent them from backing out. But anyways, we got our control arms all nice and clean. That aluminum brightener really does the job. You can see the emblems now. We got our engine cradle painted. Let us know if we should have went with another color or even color matched it with the car, but for now we went with the gloss black. And we as well got the knuckle painted. So all this is looking brand new. Let's go ahead and install it on the car and then we'll be ready for the power plant. All right, boys, so we got the right suspension installed. Everything is looking nice and pretty under here. We do still have to order the brake caliper and replace all the rotors, but we'll be taking care of that. Now let's go ahead and install this new hood latch cable and get this out of the way. Alrighty guys, that's a wrap for this episode. The RX7 is coming along. We got the front suspension nice and clean and back on the car. I know we said we were going to install the LS in this episode, but we actually have to stop what we're doing and take care of some other things. I promise you guys they'll be worth the wait because we actually don't have the keys for the car. I tried getting a few locksmiths out here to get a key made and no one was willing to do it. I guess for security reasons, we don't have the title in our name. But big shout out to Ryan Davis. Check him out on Instagram. That's the owner of the red RX7 we have. He's going to be sending us the keys. So as soon as we get the LS in, we'll be able to hear this thing come back to life. With all that being said, thank you guys for all the love and support. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Turn on your post notifications. Follow us on Instagram at DannyTV. Thank you guys for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Woo-hoo-hoo, boys, check this out. Everything is fitting in pretty well.
Man, look how much, I mean, that's a good amount of room right there for the headers.
Yeah, I thought those weren't gonna work, but they actually fit. So.